The beginnings of the race for the Ramsey County Sheriff's seat started 2 years ago with this.
Our streets!
We got a group of about probably 100 to 150, all dressed in black with masks. They're pushing a large dumpster towards the Capitol.
In Bob Fletcher's mind, the street blockades and smashed windows amounted to pure chaos, and he thinks it could have been curtailed with more careful planning by Matt Bostrom and the hiring of 500 additional officers.
From the beginning, there was a hesitancy by my opponent to really recruit the adequate number.
As the RNC security chief, Bostrom was in Fletcher's crosshairs. Fletcher criticized the city's plan and made sure to document his every gripe in a series of letters to Bostrom.
Frankly, he procrastinated and put off that recruitment effort until the last month.
Fletcher also blamed Bostrom for placing officers in full riot gear along a mostly peaceful march through downtown. The sight chilled St. Paulites accustomed to seeing their local cops in soft blues. Anti-war protesters said Bostrom lied when he assured them that St. Paul would not become a police state. But Bostrom says he made the call to increase riot gear for his officers after weighing what he now considers overly hyped-up alerts from Fletcher. He says the sheriff went rogue during the RNC and did his own investigations and kicked down doors as part of house raids leading up to the convention.
There was one person that was not involved in unified command, and it was the sheriff. He was independently, I really don't know what he was doing. I've heard him tell stories about him driving around in his car during September 1st, reporting people running through the streets of St. Paul.
But Fletcher stands by his actions and says the raids were a success. 5 members of the RNC Welcoming Committee have pleaded guilty to criminal charges. But the sheriff remains the public figure most associated with overzealous law enforcement. And many of the peace demonstrators who once called Bostrom a liar are now publicly supporting him. Bostrom says he's sorry he didn't prepare the public for the level of security needed for the event, but he thinks he knows how he's been able to win over his critics.
People sense that I'm telling the truth, because I am telling the truth.
A 28-year veteran of law enforcement, Bostrom has secured endorsements from a small army of city leaders, the DFL party, and even some prominent Republicans. He says he wants to restore trust in the sheriff's office, especially after a scandal that led to the dismantling of the Metro Gang Strike Force. Fletcher, whose office was a fiscal agent for the force, says his department's role was limited and that he didn't know that officers were illegally seizing property. But Bostrom doesn't find that plausible.
He's well aware of what's going on, and he's intentional about having people in the positions that they're in because they carry out things the way he wants them carried out.
Controversy has followed Fletcher, a former St. Paul cop who has been sheriff for the past 16 years, and his past term is arguably the most contentious to date. Some say Fletcher makes enemies because of his lone wolf style and because he falls outside the St. Paul DFL establishment. He was the Republican-endorsed candidate for the city council in 1982, but does not claim any party affiliation today, and he relishes his reputation as an independent.
I try to do the right thing. Sometimes the right thing isn't the thing that keeps politicians or city council members or commissioners happy.
Fletcher's campaigning prowess is formidable. He's the clear winner in fundraising between the two candidates and says major crimes in the county have decreased under his watch. Despite all the controversy surrounding him, it hasn't stopped Ramsey County voters from re-electing him 4 terms in a row. They'll decide Tuesday whether he deserves a 5th. Laura Yuen, Minnesota Public Radio News, St. Paul.